The go-to up on online, and we'll get started here. Welcome, folks, to the January 2016 New Mexico Drought Monitoring Work Group call. And this is Dave Dubois down in NMSU in Las Cruces. And welcome, folks. And we'll go around the call, and please say your name, and so we know who's on the call. Thanks.
Raymond Bates of your Reclamation.
Holly Reed, Albuquerque Journal.
Anne Marie Mathern, USGS.
Les Owen, New Mexico Department of Ag.
Julie, Ken, Molly, Office of the State Engineer.
Dave Noblen, National Weather Service, El Paso.
Chuck Jones, Sean Bennett here at the National Weather Service office.
There are three of us here at Los Ranchos.
Wonderful. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, welcome again, everybody. And Chuck, we'll have you go first. You ready, Chuck?
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. I just brought this up here for people to look at. These are not misprints. There's actually 2 feet plus of snow in a couple of spots up along the southeast slopes of the Sangre de Cristo. Other places had around 18 inches or so. So pretty impressive little storm last night. It's winding down now, but certainly did some damage, or actually in our case probably helped some of the northern sites for the snowfall totals. So continues to look pretty good for this start of this new year.
Display settings.
All right, how are we doing so far? Of course, this is not going to include what fell overnight, but for the month so far, previously there hadn't been too much here across the east central plains. They're getting some snow now, so that will improve as well as the northeast portion, obviously. And central areas and northwest areas are doing pretty good so far. I'm guessing we're at least normal for the month. Probably will end up above normal at the rate we're going now. So it's certainly continuing the trend that we've seen here so far this winter. Speaking of which, in December, 109% of normal, so just a little over average. Of course, with the blizzard out here, did very well. Across all the eastern plain areas, and then back across central New Mexico, and also northwest New Mexico did pretty well. So. Ended up being the 44th wettest, kind of in the middle there, 0.81 inches, average precipitation, just a little bit above normal. And for the year, hooray, 136% of normal was the statewide average for the 2015 calendar year. On the upper left here, on this is the actual precipitation totals for several sites across the state. And down here is the percent of normal. And obviously big areas with above normal precipitation, especially central and eastern areas. Note this area that I'm using the cursor on now, and how it looks like there's a less precip amounts and percent of normals in here. That's due to radar beam blockage, not necessarily that they had less precipitation. And pretty much, whatever map you use, it's probably going to show this, and I can't really rely on this. So This is not really fully the case, and it's hard though to find any maps that are going to show anything better. So just keep that in mind. We'll see that a lot during the course of the year, I'm sure. How does that rank? It was the 5th wettest year on record, over 5 inches above normal, 136% of normal again. Very impressive, especially if you look back at the past several years, especially 2011 and 12. Very poor years. And for the water year, the first 3 months we're not doing bad at all either. 9th wettest, about 2 inches above normal. It's 178% of normal so far. And the 12-month, of course, is going to be exactly as we showed for the calendar year, so I'll skip that one. Again, the 5th wettest year on record last year. 24 consecutive months, 19th wettest, still 4 1/4 inches above normal. 3 months, 27th wettest, about 4 inches above normal. But then we start adding in the 4 and 5 years, and we see that we trend below normal, over 1.5 inches below normal at 48 months, and over 5 3/4 inches below normal at 60 months or 5 years. So still long term, we're looking at dry conditions, and we get some of those reservoir amounts. We're gonna see that, you know, hydrologically we still have a long way to go. Drought status, again, no drought in New Mexico. West Coast areas, California, into western Nevada, up into south central Oregon. We're still seeing significant drought out there, although it's been, you know, getting chopped out here a little bit here recently. And for us, just a little bit of abnormally dry, no drought at the current time. And it's been that way since December 1st, I believe. 3 months change. Again, you know, improvement over the west and northwest, almost all of our moderate drought. Quite a change from a year ago. What can we expect? Well, the warmer than normal water temperatures out here in the equatorial Pacific, they've peaked and they're actually coming down a little bit. You can kind of see that here in the last few frames of the loop. But still, obviously, strong El Nino ongoing. Here's a little better illustration. You can see that we've peaked here in the last month or two and have a little bit of a decline. But again, solidly still strong El Nino going on. And all the forecaster and model consensus, you know, continuing to show the El Nino through the winter months, and then a pretty steep decline as we go into spring and especially the summer months. Same idea, just different way of representing it. The model plumes here all showing a strong El Nino sharply dropping through the spring and summer to neutral conditions. For February, though, we're still looking good. Odds favoring above normal precipitation over all of New Mexico. It's especially the case for central and southern areas. Very typical for a strong El Nino. And temperatures, if anything, suggesting maybe below normal over the southeast quarter or third of the state. Extending that out to February through April, still strong signals suggesting above normal precipitation over New Mexico and below normal temperatures. If we just go out one more month for the March through May, and that's our official 3 months of spring, still showing above normal precip, below normal temperatures. So things are looking pretty good right through the spring. And obviously no drought indicated here coming in for the rest of the winter and spring months. You've seen this slide many times. Just to reiterate, typically we get at least 150% of normal precip across the state during the winter and the spring. The 97, 98 was 140%. But the 82 to 83, the other very strong El Nino, was 176%. So I show that, so I'm showing this now, and this is the past 60 days. This is roughly the first 2/3 of the winter months. And if you look at all of our individual climate divisions here, they're all above normal. And if you average them all out, it's 141% of normal. So we've got a little ways to go, to catch up to that average of 157. But we could certainly do that here over the rest of the month and in February. But no one's going to complain, I think, about 141% of normal across the state. I'd like to see the northern mountains here, a little better. This is actually pretty typical for El Nino winters, where the northern divisions don't do quite as well percent-wise as southern areas. So I have this in here, Dave, already. As of this morning, hot off the press, your basin snow water equivalents, percent of normal, everybody near or above 100%, exception down here in the Gila region, 93%, but overall, pretty darn good. And I threw in Colorado over here so we can see for the headwaters, they're very consistent across much of the state with just a little bit above normal about everywhere. And that's all I have. Open to questions or any discussion if there's anything we want to do with our abnormally dry areas. If we want to add anything in, but I'll go ahead and open it up.
Yeah, I don't. This is Dave. I don't see any need for adding any D0. And I'm looking at that little spot down in southwest Chavez, southeast Otero, and like you're right. I think I was just going to pull up the Pinion RCRN data to see how that is doing. I need to look at that maybe after the call, because that's up and running. We can compare that with previous years since it's been up there for a few years. And I just as a few points of interest, I was along the border south of Luna in Hidalgo, and it was pretty wet. I was in Mexico, and I dug down about a foot, and I don't have any quantitative numbers, more qualitative, since I couldn't take any soil back home, but it was noticeably moist when I dug down. So it's the topsoil is very dry, and we were seeing dust in the top, maybe an inch or 2 inches, but below that it was really nice. So I think it reflects that I think we've got it right in terms of having no drought down in that part of the state, but things could change over the next few months, but hopefully not. I don't think that's
Hopefully not.
And Dave Novlin, are you on? Do you have anything to
Dave.
add?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any local bits of information you have? I think we're just keeping we raced the D0 a while back. I think that was a good choice.
the Southeast Otero.
Oh, so yeah, that and yeah. So that's up for discussion. The Otero Chavez, and I think mainly.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I really have anything to add since it's really difficult to get some kind of data or any obs there. Since things have been on the improving, I don't really know. If I was going to do anything, I'd probably take it out. But you may have more information about that.
Yeah, I was just checking on the CRN site down there, and it's up and running. But I don't have time to do that right this moment. But I think we'll verify that. But that's the only thing out there. I've driven down that road, south of Pinion, and there's really nothing. There's a couple of ranches out there. That's about it. Until you get into the
very, very, very sparse.
Yeah, until you get over to the Guadalupe. Okay. I don't have any need for any changes this week. And I think I've agreed with the Drought Monitor author on the erosion of the D0 over on the west side. So, Victor, are you on?
Yes, Dave. I joined a bit late. I'm
Okay,
here.
no problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely no need to add any drought.
No.
I would lean towards perhaps trying to chisel away, remove some of the D0, but I think we're fine where we're at. If you want to selectively chisel away some of the D0, perhaps you could. I'm not sure where you would do it, but I think it's probably good the way it is, just stay status quo.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to be going up to McKinley and San Juan to do some Kokoraz recruiting before March Madness, but I'll do some qualitative observations there to see what's going on, and maybe over in the end, Western Cibola, because we have the El Moro site over there that's taking good quality data. Okay, I don't think we have any edits to the Drought Monitor this week, so it's good. We'll just keep on the surveillance of things, how things change, and maybe look into that spot down in Chavez. Alrighty. All right, so we can move on to Bureau of Reclamation. We've got Raymond Abeda on the call. Go ahead, Raymond.
All right, can you hear me okay?
You sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'll start with the Rio Grande Basin. Petoro is 13,011 acre feet, which is pretty low. Heron is 68,926. Alvaro, 35,258, which is pretty darn low. Mabacue, 131,925. Cochiti, 46,657. Elephant Butte, 354,555. And Caballo, 29,116. And over on the Pecos, Santa Rosa, 96,706. Sumner, 46,220. Brantley, 34,719. And Avalon, 5,055. So, like everyone else, we're just kind of watching and see what the snowpack develops and what it will bring us. Hopefully we can, get Santa Rosa and combine storage of Santa Rosa and, Elephant Butte and Caballo above 400,000 acre feet. That'll bring us above Article 7, and we can store up north for this upcoming irrigation season. So, and I think it should. It's developing pretty nice, so we'll just see how it comes off, That's determines a lot. And same on the Pecos, we're doing real well there. In fact, CID is evacuating some water out of Brantley to make room. They were already up to full capacity, so they started to release. So they're getting water out of there. They'll have to make room in Sumner, and more likely they'll make room in Santa Rosa. So as they're evacuating water out of Brantley, they're going to be getting more water from up north, from Santa Rosa and Sumner, to make room for runoff, which is a much different plan than we've been doing the last few years. Some of these years we didn't hardly get any runoff at all. So it's nice to actually operate for something like this versus the other. But otherwise, the flows are continuous, the river's continuous, the flows are healthy. We have a little bypass release going out of Sumner, and we have nice, healthy connected river in Pecos and the Rio Grande. So otherwise, we'll just see how it develops and what it brings us. And we have one more month to go for the beginning of the irrigation season, March 1st. So water will be turned on then to our irrigators. So we'll see what this year brings. That's all I have, unless anyone has questions. All right, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Raymond. Yeah, in Pecos, they're looking at the SWE map, 134% of median for the season, so that's good. Looks really good. All right. Any other questions for Raymond? Okay. So I did hear from Chris, and he's out doing snow surveys, so he's not able to get on the call today. So we did show the SWE maps, and I think that was good. So we can move on. I think Anne-Marie, are you on?
I am.
Great. So we can hear from the U.S. Geological Survey report.
Okay. This report is looking at a suite of 21 river basins in New Mexico that were selected to represent relatively unmanaged flow in the state, and presents percent of annual stream flow as a cumulative average for the water year compared to the average for the historical record for each one of these gauges. 90 to 100% of average is considered average flow, above 110% above average, and below 90% is considered below average. Based on that, 17 of the 21 stations used in the analysis have at or above average flow for the water year, which is October 1st to December 31st at this point. The high is Mogollon Creek near Cliffs, that's at 205% of historic average. The low is the Canadian River near Taylor Springs, which is at about 33% of historical average. And we're looking at a median annual average of about 119% for over the 21 basins. If we look at runoff conditions by basin, the San Juan River Basin is represented by the Animas River, that's number 19 in the table, and that's at 92% of average. The Upper Rio Grande tributaries, that's numbers 7 through 12, have a range of 70 to 145% of historic average. The Jemez River, number 13, is at 85% of average. And the Upper Rio Grande main stem, number 9, Rio Grande at Taos Junction Bridge, is right at 101% of average. In the Canadian River Basin, the Upper Basin, the tributaries in Colfax County, that's numbers 1, 2, and 3, have a range of 119 to 143% of average. The Mid-Basin tributaries in Mora County, numbers 5 and 6, 80 to 147% of average. And the main stem represented by number 4, Canadian River near Taylor Springs, was the one I discussed previously. That's running at about 33% of historic average. Moving to the Pecos River Basin, the Upper Basin, San Miguel and San Miguel County numbers 14 and 15. Pecos River at Pecos and Gallinas at Montezuma are at 116 and 173% of average. Lower Pecos in Otero and Eddy counties, that's numbers 16, 17, and 18, have stream flow conditions ranging from 115 to 143% of average. And lastly, the Gila Basin in Grant County, sites 20 and 21. Moyan Creek, as I said, is at 205% of average, and the Gila River at Red Rock is at 126% of historic average. And that's what I have for this month, unless there's any questions.
Anne Marie, did you send me anything to display? I didn't see it. It looked like you were having trouble getting into.
I sent something yesterday evening.
All right. Well, I'll search for it and I'll send that out to everybody with the.
I can resend it as well.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Anne Marie? Alrighty. Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Much appreciated.
Welcome.
And let's go to the New Mexico Office of the State Engineer.
Hi, everybody. It's just Julie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Thanks, Julie. We can hear you.
I probably won't go over too many details since Raymond went over all the numbers. Ours is going to be more visual to show everybody the difference between it's going to be the difference between now and November and last year in the average. So with that, we'll just go on to the next slide. Thanks, Chuck. So Navajo is no change from November to now. Next slide. And Ute, there's no change from last month to now. There is, of course, a pretty significant increase from last year, but we all know we're doing better because of Santa Rosa, again, no change from November. Sumner, slight increase from November, approximately 6,000 acre feet. Brantley, as Raymond mentioned, they're releasing, so we saw a small decrease from November. It was about 3,000 acre feet. Heron also had a slight decrease from November. That was approximately, I believe it was like 8,000 acre feet. Alvaro also had a slight decrease from November. This was about 42,000 acre feet. It looks like it's bigger just visually seeing it, but it's 42. Abiquiu had a slight increase. Oh no, decrease. Sorry, I'm getting my numbers here mixed up. That was about 12,000. Elkin Butte actually had the most significant change and had a pretty good increase of 154,000 acre feet. And Caballo just was a slight increase, 4,000 acre feet. And that's a report. And then the last slide will kind of show the current and the previous month numbers. Does anyone have any questions?
Julie, this is Ollie Reed with the Albuquerque Journal. What was your figure on Elton Butte? How much of an increase?
I got 154,000 acre feet.
Okay,
from
thank
November.
you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Julie. Alrighty, no questions for Julie other than Holly. And we can move on to Les. Are you on with the New Mexico Department of Agriculture?
Yes, I'm here this morning, Dave, and don't really have much of a report. Folks are a lot of the state had a pretty good year last year for rangelands. There were some areas that that didn't quite get the blessings that other areas did, but it was a pretty good year, and folks are hoping the spring doesn't have a whole lot of wind and continues with the moisture. But I really don't have any formal report to give, but if anybody has any questions, I'd sure be happy to try and answer them.
Okay. Any questions for Les? Doesn't sound like it.
That's easy.
Hey, right. All right. So I think Susan sounded like she was going to be late. I'm not sure if Susan's on. Susan Rich? I didn't think so. Okay. I did get an email from Emelita, the FSA. Let me just read what she was. I think she wanted to communicate this to the group. She'd been trying to help the producers affected by Goliath. We have a program called the Livestock Indemnity Program, which compensates producers for 75% of the fair market value of the decreased livestock. Of course, we have limitations. So there's $125,000 per person, and the producers have to meet the adjusted gross income. So if you have any specific questions about that, I would contact Emelita. She's got a state committee meeting this morning, so she couldn't make the call. And yeah. And if you don't have her phone number or email, just give me a holler and I can give that to you. All right. So moving on to the next item on our agenda, is there any other points of discussion regarding Drought Monitor or any other topic of that we should bring out to the group? Okay. I did just now look up the Pinion site down in, it's actually in the very the edge of Otero County, right where the D0, and it's basically since this year, since December 28th, they had 0.31 inches at that site, which I think if you eyeball it on the Prism map, it jives really well. So I think they're using the CRN data to adjust the Prism map. So I think at least that's on the far western side of that yellow blob, that little teeny blob over there in Otero, Chavez County. So it is a little bit below average, but I'm not sure if it's warrants a D0 at this point. So we can look into that a little more after the call. Okay. So the next item we want to do is look at our calendars for February. If nobody else has any other items for discussion.